We're back for one last time in 2025. This is 2025.4.2, the last major release of the year, and we got a bunch of cool stuff in this one. And don't forget, we'll answer your questions at the end, and this is your reminder to keep asking them in the comments so we have questions to answer. But no time to waste, let's talk about some of the features in this one. Group and event sharing. You can now share groups and events directly to other users via pedestals, just like you can with emoji, for example. Sharing groups and events will not require VRChat Plus, so go crazy and share all the cool things that you're interested in with your pals. Group discovery. You'll notice on the Groups tab that things look a little different. We've added a new flow to make finding interesting groups a lot easier. This is something we'd like to iterate on, so, as always, your feedback is appreciated. Go check it out and let us know if you find some cool new friends. This is a feature that's rolling out to everyone slowly, just like the Live Now tab from the last patch, so if you don't see it right away, don't worry. Mutuals. Speaking of cool new friends, what if you could see who you had a lot of friends in common with in VRChat? Well, now you can. You'll see an added icon above users who you share one or more connections with. You can then click on their profile where you'll see a new button showing you specifically who you share in common. You can also see what groups you share in common with users. And because we know you'll ask, you have the option to disable this via the website, just in case you would like a little bit more privacy regarding who your friends are. FYI, it's under the settings section, a little gear in the top left. This is a feature that is rolling out to everyone slowly, just like the Live Now tab from the last patch, or group discovery, which we just talked about. Finally, a big one, Steam Audio. Yes, that's right, the day has finally come. Up until now, VRChat has used ONSP as our audio spatializer. What's that mean? It's basically what processes all the sound outputs, making them sound like they're in a 3D space and not just blasted into your ears. For a long time now, we've been using and testing Steam Audio in a series of betas, as we wanted to move away from ONSP. Why move away? Well, a lot of reasons. Some of these are very much under the hood. Engineering headaches, bugs that aren't just possible to fix on our end, and limitations and inconsistencies across platforms. But then there's other more exciting stuff. For one, we personally think that Steam Audio sounds similar, but better. It's more flexible. Handles things like, say, a crowded instance a lot better. It also allows us to tinker and tweak the VRChat experience in many ways that just all come together to, make things sound better. Additionally, this opens up a lot of potential options for creators in the future. While we aren't quite opening that can of worms just yet, it at least gives us the option. Finally, if you haven't been using the open beta, you'll probably notice things sound a little different. Or maybe you won't. Either is fine. But before coming to a solid conclusion on how you like or dislike it, we'd suggest giving it a week. It turns out sound and how your brain processes sound is super complicated, so give it a little bit of time. That's it for new features. Let's get into changes and fixes. For creators, our debug UI has received a major overhaul and now works in VR and on mobile. And you don't need to add any launch parameters. There's a lot of changes, and we encourage you to read the full patch notes, linked in the description, as always, to see all of them. In general though, you should know that you can open the new debug UI from the quick menu. Click the bottom of the settings tab and look for the toggle debug UI button. Added a face mirror spout stream option in the face mirror category for PC. Enabling this will send the contents of the face mirror to spout, where it can be used by external tools like OBS. VTubers, rejoice. We're testing a change with the Avatars tab. This includes a bunch of changes, like moving the Explore Avatars tab out of the Avatars tab, as well as changing the Avatars tab to itself better match other pages. You might not see this one. We're testing it, like I said. Nevertheless, for those of you that do see it, now you know what's going on. The inventory should handle longer names better. Improved cursor jitter when using forced camera near distance. Floating point inaccuracies will still occur, but the near distance setting specifically should have less of an effect on UI usability now. By default, VRC Plus gift drops will only affect users that do not have an active subscription. Users will be able to toggle this behavior off, however, if they prefer. Clarified VRChat Plus gift drop purchase text. Gift drop effects are now tied to the item's volume slider. Increased range desktop users' heads can visibly rotate up and down. This does not affect how much a desktop user can actually rotate their head, just the visible range. Fixed a bug that caused the world and group stores to be shuffled every time the menu is opened. String and image download requests triggered via Udon now set their accept headers correctly, so the server handling the request can see which kind of content is being requested. UI themes are now gradually transitioned to when they're hovered over. VRChat shop items with VRC Plus discounts will now properly display their VRC Plus logo next to their discounted prices instead of just text. Particle systems attached to an avatar can no longer collide with objects on the pickup no environment, or item layer if they apply to a physics force. This resolves an exploit that could render some worlds unplayable. Items that are still being loaded now display their load progress the same way avatars do. Fixed an issue where some group owners or members with many events between all groups in which they are a member sometimes wouldn't be able to see certain events or link instances to them either. Fixed VRC object sync transforms not respawning in their original location. Fixed an invisible loading screen after visiting certain worlds. Fix the occasional issue where Unicode characters on the Live Now page fail to mask correctly, causing characters to float outside of the bounds of the menu. Improvements to underlying network code. Technical improvements for UI shaders. Minor UI fixes. And that's it for changes and fixes. Now, let's answer some of your questions from the last video. TreeClimber1873 says, just an idea. You should put the free OG avatars back in the home, instead of being just the ones that cost money. This is something that we've actually experimented with in the past, and are likely to experiment with again in the future. We found that identity is obviously a big part of people feeling comfortable in VRChat, but what that means in practice is complicated. Obviously, we want newer players to stick around, but it's important that we're making decisions with data more than, say, just winging it. You can always be sure that we're doing that. Sometimes, though, the data is surprising, and things you would expect to work, well, don't. And the other way around. All that to say, will we bring them back? I don't know. But if the data says that we should, we probably will. Davi Patricio 4426 says, this is not a question, but I am visually disabled and struggle with typing things in VR. It'd be cool if you guys added speech to text. That would be cool. With that said, if you need something right now, there are tools that exist that work with OSC that can do this. There are a bunch of comments suggesting options, so if there's something you're interested in, you should go check out that comment thread. Breaker Love says, I'm happy with VRC. I'm happy with the updates and the staff direction. The early years were frustrating, but now everything feels more organized and thought out. But here are some things I'd like to see. Badges focused on the community contributions and less on how much money you gave to VRC would be nice. For example, a World Builder badge, a Groups badge, or an Avatar Creator badge. Just something that says, we see your hard work and we appreciate you. Well, thank you. We're always trying our best. To get to your questions though, we agree. That's why we've given out badges for people that say help with stuff like localization or managing the VRChat wiki. It's also why we give them to contest winners, like say with the Film Jam or Spookality. Admittedly, badges are getting a little crowded though. We might want another system in the future to handle stuff like this. What would that look like? I don't know. Redeemer asks, when will we get a world voting system? We might have touched on this in a previous video, but we are considering systems like this. We think discovery in VRChat needs a lot of work, but are unsure of what the best system would look like. Voting obviously has a few potential issues, as does something more algorithmic. We're looking into it. Obviously, one of the things we want to be careful of here is potentially doing something that changes the kind of content that people create. We don't want to encourage something that would make people game the system instead of, say, trying to create the best possible world they could. Subliminal VHS asks, will the VRChat camera ever have the ability to record in 360 degrees, similar to other 360-degree cameras in real life? It used to. This was a feature of the old camera, way back in the day. To be honest, we found that it wasn't used that much, and because of that, it's hard to imagine that it would come back. But of course, if it turns out that a lot of people want it, that could change. RW1A says, biggest thing I'd like to see again is a built-in avatar search feature, similar to the ones used by mods back in the day, without having to try out or pay for an avatar. There's worlds for it, but it'd be much easier to have it in the menu itself. This is gonna be a long one. Avatar search is one of those things that many people often request, and we understand why. Typically, when these sort of questions go out, someone always makes the assumption that the reason why we haven't done this is because it would hurt the avatar marketplace. That's not necessarily true, though. The answer, as is with a lot of things, is that some potential issues would require a lot of design to solve. For example, what avatars appear in the search results? Avatar search worlds generally generate a list of every public avatar, but is that what we would want to do? Probably not, given that a lot of people upload private avatars to share with others. Likewise, there are a lot of questions about what kind of avatars are being shown to people. With something like the marketplace, we have granular control and can moderate stuff pretty easily. But a larger public list becomes a bit of a headache. When worlds, or dare I say, the mods of old, tackle these problems, they generally are approaching them without really considering everyone that would use the system, or what knock-on effects it could have. As VRChat ourselves, we have to take a different, more considered approach. That means more design, more under-the-hood thinking, and more time. That doesn't mean that we never do it, far from it. It's something that we'd like to explore one day, but it would require a significant amount of work and development time in ways that might not be immediately obvious. When thinking about that effort, we have to prioritize it against everything else by asking tough questions. For example, would this actually improve the new user experience? Are we sure? Could we test that with a more basic version? What other trends have we seen in our data? Could doing this actually hurt us in some way? And is that risk greater than other safer projects we could be working on? Once again, none of this means no, but I wanted to at least voice why such a highly requested feature has never gotten the spotlight. And, with that long answer, I think we're done this week. Thanks for tuning in and staying to the end. Remember to ask your questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to get to the most popular ones next time. Thanks for watching, and as always, read the full notes in the description.